When are you planning on retiring? Is it when you can tap into your 401k? Or do you prefer deciding on your own terms? Many physicians and dentists, they often fantasize about retiring early, reaching a stage that I like to call the work optional phase. This is the point where you have enough income to cover your personal expenses. At that point, then yeah, work is optional. But there's actually two ways that you can retire from dentistry by age 45. And oh, wait a minute. In this video, we're actually going to cover it in just a few minutes. I'm going to teach you both. But before we get going, if you're new here, I'm Dr. Jeff Anzalone, not a retirement specialist, but a periodontist on a mission to get you out of the rat race and get to the point where work is optional. All right, let's get into both of the ways that you could retire. First is one that you're probably very familiar with. It's actually called the traditional way. Now, unfortunately, many dentists and physicians, they follow this traditional path to retirement. Now, they work nonstop for years, running on a hamster wheel, and they put off their dreams until they, quote, are going to retire. Why do they do this? They do it because it's what everybody else does, and it's viewed as normal or expected. Let me ask you a question. What are you told ever since you were a kid? Heck, you may be even teaching your kids right now if you have them. Here's the path. Go where? Go to school. When you're in school, what do you have to do? You got to make the grades, right? Make good grades. Then you go to college, and then you get a good paying job or career, okay? And then what do they tell us about our job or career? We have to stay in it until we're about 70 because it's going to take that long to save up enough money to do what? To retire, right? Sound familiar? Yeah, absolutely. But what does this type of thinking do to us? You ever heard of this word before? Burnout? More and more dentists and physicians in any type of really high stress job or profession, they're actually struggling with burnout because they feel trapped. They're trapped in this rat race that we're told that we have to what? We're being told we have to do it, yet we're burning out. We're told that we have to work hard our whole lives, and then we'll be able to sit back and enjoy ourselves when we, quote, retire. But this way of thinking, it can actually make us feel stuck because we're always waiting for the future to live out our dreams, right? We're waiting to reach this magical retirement age number. But what if we don't want to work for 40 or 50 years? What if we want to maybe invest in other types of assets besides the stock market? Well, let's walk through the typical scenario. All right. We get out of school, we get out of our training, and what happens? It doesn't take long for people start knocking on our door, right? Bankers, financial advisors, insurance reps, those types of people. They start calling us, right? Nonstop. Why? Because you're viewed as somebody that's going to work a long time, make a lot of money, and thus make them a lot of money. All right. And think about it. Because most people use a financial advisor, what do most people do? They follow the path of least resistance. So we take the same path and we schedule our appointment. All right. We schedule an appointment with the advisor. What do? They ask you a bunch of questions. A lot of these questions you haven't even thought about before because you've been so ingrained in the books and working or whatever to get out into your profession. So they start asking you a bunch of these questions, what you want. And of course, you want to live the dream. You want to have the life, the cars, the family, the country club, the vacations, all of that. Okay. They ask you what you're trying to accomplish. You know, when you want to retire, maybe how much you want to retire with, and you're all excited. And yeah, I want this and that. And I want this millions and blah, blah, blah. Then the next thing you know, what happens? They start showing you all these complex diagrams and charts and tables and stuff that even Chat GPT couldn't even figure out, couldn't even decipher. But why does it have to be so complicated? I remember when I had my first meeting and I was told, and again, I didn't know what in the world I was doing. I was just kind of telling them what I wanted. You know, I'm like 29, 30 years old. What do I know? And back then they told me that I needed $10 million saved up. $10 million. That's my goal to shoot for if I wanted to live the kind of life that I just put on this piece of paper. $10 million? Think about it. With the amount of debt that most of us get out in training, along with, you ever check the prices of things lately? So you got all this debt, then you got all these expensive things that everybody wants. Seriously, what's the likelihood that somebody is going to be able to save up that kind of money short of 40 years or longer? Really, highly unlikely. I'm not saying it can't be done, but it's highly unlikely. Yet, what do? We take this advice And now we make it our mission. This is our mission. This is our $10 million mission. We're going to save $10 million. And by golly, we're going to die trying. Well, that's about right, because most of us will be dead if we had to work that long to save up that much money. So too bad if you're on the traditional path to retirement. I was on it. Glad I got off, but it doesn't have to be that way. Which leads us to number 2. Instead of the traditional way, now we're going to focus on, it's not even complicated. It's called the smart way. And it starts off by you taking control and you, not somebody else, but you getting smart with your money, which allows you to stop focusing on retiring at a certain age. Okay. Instead, you can plan your life and your career based on what your personal dreams and goals are. So this means that you can have enough money to live comfortably and even retire early if you want to. So the aim is not to just stop working at a certain age, but to have enough money to do what you like, to do what you love to do. And you don't have to wait until you're too old to do this. So if you're smart, if you're on the smart way, if you're smart, you can reach this work optional stage early and really live your dream life, not just dream about it. Now you're probably asking, well, how is this done? Because retirement, from what I've heard, it just seems so complicated with all those charts, diagrams, and tables. It's really not. Look, if you like what you're doing, then don't retire. Keep working. Work actually provides us with a purpose. It's a reason to get up every morning. I have a friend living here in town. He sold out of his company. The company's still happening. It's still running. He sold out to his partner. At the age of 45, 46, guess what? 2 years later, he's back to work. He lost his purpose. Now he's got it back. Okay? The smart way is getting to the point where your work or your career is optional. You have flexibility. You go to work because you want to and not because you have to. That's a big difference. Imagine what your attitude would be like going to your job each day because you wanted to go. Imagine how you treat your patients, how you would treat your customers, your clients, your employees, your colleagues. Now imagine that more and more people got off the traditional path and got on the smart path and started this whole process as well. Think about it. Wouldn't that make for a lot happier workforce to be working in? So the way to this path actually starts off by understanding how you make money. How are you making money? Are you trading your time for money? Or are you getting to the point where money's working for you? This is the basis of Robert Kiyosaki's cash flow quadrant, right? ESBI. Most of us are over here. We're on the left side or the poor side. We're either an employee or self-employed. We're trading our time for money. You got to realize how are you making money? Well, the goal is to get to the rich side where money is working for you. You're a business owner, people are working for you, or you're an investor, your money's working for you. Okay. Once you've gotten to the right side, so the goal is to get over here. Once you've gotten to the right side of the quadrant, then you're well on your way to work being optional. Now you can take off as long as you want, like weeks or months or years or longer. Okay, you can do that knowing that your work will always be there waiting for you if you choose to return. The goal is simple, and we briefly touched on it earlier. Figure out how much you're spending each year, personal expenses, and then just set out to replace it with cash flowing assets. How do you do that, Jeff? Well, let's don't make this complicated. Let's do a little scenario. And this is based on, I have calls almost every day with people, and this is based on hundreds and hundreds of calls that I've had. For whatever reason, people like to focus on $120,000 a year. Okay, they just say, hey, I would like $120,000 of passive income a year. So let's say this person, let's say Dr. P, he spends $120,000 a year. Okay, divide that by 12. That is roughly $10,000 per month. So in this situation, Dr. P and his family, they need $120,000 a year to get to the point where he is in the work optional stage. Now, simply choose cash flowing assets such as investing in other businesses. Okay, you can find businesses to invest in passively, or my favorite, you probably know this if you've been watching some of my videos, real estate syndications. Businesses, real estate syndications, things like that. So real estate syndications, these are just basically a type of group investment that actually pays you, guess what? Passive income, cash flow. Okay, it pays you during the hold period. Typically, these hold periods are anywhere from 4 to 5 years. All right, so let's do some quick math. If you have, or if he has, $1.5 million in real estate syndications paying a preferred return of 8% a year, which is what most of the ones that I'm currently in and my investors in my passive investor circle, that's typically that's the average, 7 to 8%. We'll use 8 in this scenario. Okay. If you have 1.5 million in syndications paying 8% preferred a year, guess what? Congratulations. Dr. P is now what? Work optional. Why? Because 8% of this is that. 10,000 a month or 120,000 a year. Notice I did not say he needed 10 million or he needed 15 million, which is probably what going to be told. I said in this scenario 1.5 million. How long would it take you to save up $1.5 million? You may have $500,000 sitting in a checking account right now or in investments. I don't know. How long would it take you to save up 10 or 15 million? No wonder people are burning out, okay? But now you know a different option besides the traditional way. And if you're ready, if you're on that traditional path and you're ready to get off of it and join me on the smart path, then watch this video.